Alright, first off I'd like to thank everyone for coming out on this lovely Saturday evening to listen to my informative speech. And the speech that I'm about to give involves the art of smoking meat. Now when I say smoking meat, it's not grilling, it's a different style of cooking, and I'll get to that later in my speech. But to get to smoking meat, there are few aromas more specific and more mouth-watering for most than the smell of bacon sizzling in a skillet upon waking up in the morning, or the smell of walking into a home during the holidays where there's been a ham baking. And those two aromas, as specific as they are, they have something in common, and that is the fact that they've both been smoked and undergone the process of smoking. Now, smoking meats holds its origins in a means of food preservation. But today it's used as more of a method of cooking and flavor enhancement. And there's actually archaeological excavations of early civilizations where primitive means of food preservations were discovered. Because since mankind were hunters and gatherers, preserving food has always been an issue. And according to Dave Dubbs and Chris Habrel, who co-authored the book Smoking Food: A Beginner's Guide, these uncovered methods were pickling, salting, and smoking. And smoking became the most convenient means of preserving meat. And this means was used even until early colonial America, until about 1803 in Baltimore, Maryland. There was the invention of the icebox, which later became the refrigerator. And the technology of refrigeration has greatly reduced the need for preserving a lot of foods. However, since the 1970s, the advent of the backyard smoker kind of created a resurgence in smoking meat on a household level. And modern day meat smokers come in a large variety of styles, but almost always their source of fuel is wood. And according to Dave Schlenker, during a personal interview last month regarding this topic, the most flavorful smoke comes from that of fruit wood, such as apple, cherry, or even pear. But other popular choices are hickory and mesquite, and they're both hardwoods. So once you've selected your type of fuel or flavor and type of wood that you're going to use as the source of heat for cooking, you get to the meat. And preparing the meat for smoking is a relatively simple process. There's a multitude of herbs and seasonings you can use, but these are generally applied as a rub. And it's the physical act of rubbing the seasoning into the meat. And sometimes these are refrigerated overnight to absorb the flavor, but come the next day you actually get to the act of smoking. Now this is my smoker. It's actually a hybrid. It's kind of a grill and a smoker. But this side box is called a firebox, and that's where the fire actually happens. It's where you keep your wood. And there's a damper on the side here that allows you to adjust how much air is allowed to go in to the smoker, and then the chimney adjustment allows how much heat escapes. And it's a balancing act to get to a target temperature. And there's a thermostat right here that tells you what you're getting and for a temperature. But according to Dave Anderson, author of Back Roads and Side Streets, the ideal temperature for smoking is one of much debate amongst enthusiasts. But generally the agreed upon range is somewhere between 180 and 250 degrees Fahrenheit. My personal preference, I like 225. It's just a general all-purpose temperature, and I've had really good luck with it. And each type of meat has its own internal temperature called the target temperature that you're shooting for. And to reach that temperature around at 225, that can take anywhere from 2 hours to 12 hours depending on what it is. And typically the target internal temperature of that meat is anywhere from 140 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Now any type of meat can be smoked. And again, the more familiar ones already come smoked, and those are the ones we get at the grocery store, like, again, ham and bacon. But, and those are commercially smoked. But backyard smokers such as this one, any type of meat will work. And it's a It's a huge gauntlet. Examples of such are whole chickens, racks of ribs, beef briskets, fish, and any type of wild game will work. So, in conclusion, as we've learned, smoking meats holds its origins as a means of food preservation, and today it is used more of a means of cooking and flavor enhancement. So I hope you've learned something, and I thank you for your time, and have a great evening. Thank you.